Power Fist is one of those weapons that I think gets a bad rap. In my personal opinion, and this is purely my opinion, I like it more than the Power Sword, for the Bulwark especially. And it's not until I level up the Thunderhammer that I want to actually replace it on the Assault. I found that the Power Fist afforded me a ton of mobility and a lot of really good damage as I got it higher and higher. Now, in this video, I'm going to go through what the combos are like to really help you crack the code of the Power Fist so that you can actually enjoy it. And especially with patch 3.0, we now know that it gets a 30% increased damage to its charge attacks. I'm going to talk about this more later in the video, but basically this means that 30% is cascaded down to all forms of damage, either the smaller charge or just a generic hit. So it overall does more damage across the board. Now, in my typical fashions of upfronting the knowledge in my videos, the biggest tip I can give you to using the Power Fist succinctly and properly is knowing that when you look at the combo sheet for the weapon, all those combos can be done in one fell swoop. You don't need to restart the combo. So if you do a light attack, and a heavy attack, you can just keep doing heavy attacks to further the combo chain if you so wish. Or you do 3 light attacks, a heavy attack, and then finish off with the 5th one, I think it's thrust jab 2, for the 5th heavy attack. So I think the big thing that people are struggling with the Power Fist is they look at the combo system as something that needs to be done on its own. But rather, every single item on the combo list can be chained together if you toggle between light and heavy attacks to create the proper combo combination. That doesn't sound like it works, but for some reason it just did right there. And the other big tip I have for you for the Power Fist is use your mobility. That cannon punch is very strong. So that means you're going to do a dodge into an attack that allows you to do the cannon punch. It's going to knock things back, enabling you to do gun strikes. If you're playing on assault, you'll get the perk that allows you to get armor back when you do a gun strike that does not kill. And if you're playing on a bulwark, you're just going to do those gun strikes regardless, and it's just going to give you armor because you're a bulwark, and who cares anymore because you've got a banner and it's going to give you full health. But either way, hopefully that helps you in getting a better idea about the Power Fist before we get into this. And if that's all you wanted to know, please feel free to simply shut the video down and get back to enjoying your game. But if you do decide to stick around, please don't forget to like, comment, and or subscribe. Each one of those things does help me out in a huge way, and I would greatly appreciate it. Also, I will be, and I have been, streaming Space Marine 2 on my Twitch. You can find that linked below and in the pinned comment. So please come on by and have some fun with us. But let's get started here on my ultimate guide for the Power Fist in Space Marine 2. So to start us off, before we get into any details about the actual Power Fist, let's go into our versions and our perk tree. The Power Fist, unlike, pretty much every single weapon we've talked about in a lot of these deep dives, it's pretty straightforward. You've got a balance version, and then you've got a balance version, and then you can go into a balance or a fencing version. Honestly, I find that the parry with the Power Fist, whether you're playing a bulwark or an assault, is actually extremely approachable. So I stuck with the balance version of the Power Fist until I got to Relic, where it made more sense for me to go with the fencing version. If you're really struggling with those perfect parries, then by all means, go with the fencing version. But the thing I like about the speed, the higher speed on the Power Fist here, is that it gives me the capability to maneuver around faster. Speed obviously is the time to attack things, right? It's your attack speed. But I also want you to think of that's the time in which you're locked into animations to do attacks and do things. The higher the speed value, the kind of hidden attribute of speed is the faster you progress through your combos so that you can get out of a tough situation or finish your combo so you can dodge something. Because remember, parry will act as an animation cancel, but a dodge does not, and you cannot animation cancel with a dodge. So you kind of have to hope that you are done with your combo to then dodge something. So I actually like balance because I like that 4.5, the 4-up speed. Then jumping into Relic, balance here is okay, but there's just no reason to not go with fencing. You do lose the cleaving potential, and cleaving potential is the ability to hit in a wider and wider arc around you. That's not so huge to me because the actual charge attacks of the Power Fist affords us tons of AoE damage. It truly has lots of AoE capability. Now for our perk tree, let's just go ahead here. The bottom is melee damage increase. I don't like the top at all because it's predicated upon you having full armor. It's a lot easier to achieve now, but I still want to go with that flat 5% damage increase. And then heavy attack, this is a good one because of the most recent patch. Heavy attack prep time is reduced by 30% and applies to thrust, jab, back fist, hammer hook, back fist 2, and thrust, jab 2. Don't worry, we're going to go through all those combos in a little bit. But basically, we have a 30% increase to our heavy attack prep on almost every single heavy attack with the power fist. It's really good, especially now that we got a buff to that. We're going to get both of these to get a total of 15% melee damage increase, which is pretty substantial. Then we're going to go with when your health is below 30%, a successful back fist 2 or thrust jab 2 attack restores 1 armor segment. Now we're going to take a look at the combos, but we're going to have a lot of fun with Rally here to actually get us a lot of armor segments. So this helps give us a lot of durability that I don't get from other weapons when I'm playing Bulwark or when I'm playing the Assault. Now, the other one here is Tyrannid Slayer for our 10% damage against Tyranids, and then Chaos Slayer for 10% damage against Chaos. Over to combo, after a successful heavy attack, the next light attack deals 10% more damage. This is just nice because you're going to combo heavies and lights quite a bit. This weapon really lends itself to that combo system of leading from one into the other. So I definitely recommend this one because I like this perk over the one below it, and we'll talk about both real quick. So Tide of Battle Power Wave Forward distance increases from 4 to 8 meters. Basically just gives us superficial cleaving potential is the easiest way to explain it. But this helps us to just get a lot more reach on the weapon. It helps out with our overall mobility because that mobility is attached to the reach of the weapon. Now, you can skip out on this perk if you want and go with the 10% more damage to Majoris. But I think the kind of trap here is I like this because, you deal with tons of Majoris enemies, right? But I wish that this was Majoris or higher level enemies. I'd rather have 5% damage increase across the board than only 10% against Majoris. So I went with that. I went that route rather than sticking with just the isolated 10%. Now, you can alternatively go down this bottom route. I don't like it as much. Area of effect increase is always nice. Ground shake, even with the most recent patch, it doesn't do a ton of damage. So you're switching thrust jab, which is your very first ability, your very first attack, to a ground shake. You hold it down, you charge it, and you let go, and the character slams the ground and does some area effect damage. It's just not substantial enough, even after the increase, for me to really like it. And I think that this just gives you such a good amount of wave clear and a lot of really fun, again, quote unquote, cleaving potential. It's not really that, but it's the easiest way for me to describe it right now. And I just think it affords you a lot more utility for your character. Now, let's jump into some combos and talk more about the Power Fist itself. So to start us off, let's talk about the combos, because the combos are a little convoluted and hard to understand. So I'm going to pause. We're going to take a look here. We have a light combo. We have a heavy combo. Light combo is right bumper, attack, 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 attack. Not to be confused with the hit band Attack, Attack, which went off into its own other band, Bill Murray. Not that I listen to that music at all. But you've got 4 attacks to your light combo, 4 heavy attacks to your heavy combo, and you have a thrust jab. What I want you to really look at is thrust jab goes into back fist, goes into hammer hook, goes into back fist 2, goes into thrust jab 2, if you know how to really kind of break these apart. So let me take this for example. Let me show you an example here. Thrust jab into back fist. Thrust jab, back fist. Don't look at these as their own individual combos that, okay, if I want to get to back fist after a thrust jab, I have to reset the combo and go attack, heavy attack. No, it's thrust jab, back fist. Now, let me just show you with the light attack. Attack, attack. It's the same exact, you're just adding the actual charge into it, right? So if we're looking at just the light combo, this would, if you kind of want to think of it this way, right? We've got back fist, or we've got thrust jab, back fist, hammer hook, back fist 2, thrust jab 2. We have essentially 5 total things, 5 total animations that make up an entire combo. But you have to break it into heavy attacks to get to like that thrust jab 2. So let's look at just simply putting a light combo and just simply looking at a heavy combo first. So 1, 2, 3, 4. See how that kind of does that uppercut? That's how we kind of end it. We can't get to thrust jab 2. That's a back fist 2. 4 attacks is a back fist 2, basically. Thrust jab needs to be activated with a heavy. So let's just do heavy attack combo. And now I can do another one to bring us into that thrust jab 2. So what I want you to really think about is a couple things. It's really easy to get lost in the combo system of the fist, but unlike the sword, unlike the thunder hammer, and unlike the chain sword, it's very easy to kind of continue a combo in the middle of things. You can sit here and jump and do jump and do a cannon punch, and then bring this into a whole entire chain of attacks. And this gets you a lot of really fun functionality that no other weapon really has the ability to do. And that's what I really like about the Power Fist above everything. I have mobility, and with that mobility, I have the functionality and the versatility to move around my combo chains as needed to really open up whatever I need to do. Now, you remember our perks, right? Our perks really, Tide of Battle, Tide of Battle is the one for pretty much everything. I'm talking about Back Fist 2 and Thrust Jab 2. We can get armor segments off of those. So let's take a look at chaining in to Back Fist 2 followed by Thrust Jab 2. I feel like I'm talking about a fighting game. I'm not that smart. I'm really not smart at all. I'm terrible at fighting games, but I was somehow able to get this. So we're going to do 3 light attacks followed by 2 heavy attacks. If you look at this thing, it makes you think you need to do 3 light attacks. Here, let me use my mouse. 3 light attacks followed by a heavy attack, then 4 light attacks followed by a heavy attack to do these combos. No, it's 1, 2, 3, heavy, heavy. We'll do a Back Fist 2 and a Thrust Jab 2. I mean, essentially, it'll go through this entire list. So if we are able to get these off, if we're below 30% health, it will restore not 1, but 2 armor segments. So 1, 2, 3, there are no power up for the 4, power up for the 5. That would give us 2 armor segments if we were below 30% health, which is really, really nice. Of course, you are locked into those animations and doing those attacks. So you will need to be mobile. You need to be doing parries, all sorts of things. We'll talk about that in the gameplay. But I think people don't like the Power Fist because they don't understand the Power Fist combo structure. I think that they think everything has to be just okay. I want to restart it. Okay, now I think it's very easy to get flustered and lost. And I did too. I was just kind of like button mashing the shit out of it. But really it comes down to understanding that every single swing leads to another thing in that whole entire combo list. And most importantly, with patch 3.0, we just got a buff to this. Whenever you're charging your hammer, your power, you are immune to knockback. No other weapon gets that innately built into the weapon. They need a perk or some sort of thing to activate it outside of it. You just get that, like this. I'm immune to knockback right there. Someone could hit me, and I'd be totally fine. They wouldn't be able to knock me back, and I'd be able to really have some fun with it. So really, it's about kind of learning how that overall structure works with the Power Fist, because it's very tedious. It's something that you really are not going to get the first time around. You're really going to need to kind of fall into a good cadence with it. And that's a big thing too, is the mobility on this weapon is why I like it so much. And for me, it really plays with assault very well. It made my bulwark feel a lot more defensive in ways that the power sword felt clunky and obtrusive, or the ways that the chain sword would just get me locked into attacks. And when it comes to the actual parry, it's very quick and it's very easy. So I actually very much enjoy how this all lines up, and it gives me quite a bit of AoE damage, and it gives me quite a bit of single target damage because of the new charge attacks. And with those charge attacks, you're going to want to learn how to hold them. Just like I showed off with the Thunder Hammer in my assault video, you don't need to do this. It's nice. You do get more damage, but that patch that increased the max charge by 30% on the Power Fist seems to have had a cascading effect throughout the entire range of the Power Fist damage. Now, I couldn't tell you exact percentages or anything of the sort, but a charge like this still does a lot more damage than it used to. And a charge like just swinging still also seems to be doing more damage. So what I want you to really take a look at is the actual attack animation. So I'm going to try to position this as best I can. Oh yeah, look at that hand. What have they done to me? So I'm going to hold down and charge. You see that was a little too soon, right? But as soon as your hand really gets back, you're charged. You're good to go. You don't need to really lock yourself in. As soon as you kind of hear that static charge, you don't need to lock yourself in to the big, huge charge like that. You don't need to see the glow to get a good charge. And this, I think, will keep you kind of on your toes, right? We talk about that back fist 2 into thrust jab 2. So 1, 2, 3, and mess up because I pressed light attack. But 1, 2, 3, charge, release, charge, release. Oops, I messed that up right there. But still, you don't need to charge it very long. It can be a very quick charge to get you up and going. And I kind of held it there longer just to make sure it actually happened. But that charge, I think, is what is holding people back in really enjoying the Power Fist, because they're doing this. And I get it, right? It's like the same thing when you're using a Thunder Hammer. You want to hold it because you want to get that big boom going. But honestly, if you learn to really get those charges off quickly, you'll have a character that is far more nimble and is able to do a lot more big, heavy damage because they're getting these big charges off quickly. And you're able to do this cannon punch, which gives you so much mobility. More so, I think, honestly, than the sword. The sword, it has a very similar attack pattern, especially if you're in speed style. But I think overall the animation for it is longer. I would love to see the actual like millisecond timing, but this feels like a much less punishing or at least locking capability. And I can bring it into a really good combo very quickly to get the most out of using the fist. So hopefully this gives you a better idea now of how the combo system works here, and how charging it is not just simply needing to, or not simply needing to be this massive charge. It can be just a really quick little one to get you into the charge stance to unlock the next step in a combo chain, right? 1, 2, 3, charge, release, charge, release. To really just unlock stuff. And just really quickly too, before we move on, Power Wave. Power Wave forward distance increases from 4 to 8. That's the tidal battle effect that I talked about. Let me see. This is really cool to show off in the water. This is Power Wave. Let it go all the way. That little aura around you is your Power Wave. And it happens here just on the basic one. So that meter, the meterage on that goes from 4 to 8. So it gives me a lot more actual AoE capability, because that aura right there will disturb everything that it hits. Minoros will get shot around. If you can really get a good one placed on a Majoris, it'll stagger them slightly depending on the level of your weapon and what difficulty you're on, all that kind of jazz. But understanding the combos is the key to understanding how the Power Fist works. And once you really look at the combos of the Power Fist as not mutually exclusive, as they can just simply be chained together, you start to unlock a lot of the damage potential, the mobility, and the versatility of the fist. I'm going to show off some gameplay, but first let's jump into a trial here on the Bulwark to talk a little bit more about what the mobility is like on the I want to call it Thunder Fist, on the Hammer Fist. This gives you a chance to really kind of put things into an isolated scenario where we can really kind of look at things. And this is also my relic version of the fist. So again, what I'm really liking here is that I get a lot of mobility, right? I'm not really kind of locked down in my animations. I feel like I have the mobility to kind of get out of really bad situations quick if I need to. And that's what I really enjoy about this fist. When I'm playing with the Power Sword, I really feel like the animation wind-up time is just 9 years long. And as a result, I'm locked into those animations to the point where I can't actually reliably do damage. The fist, I feel like I'm constantly able to do the damage, and I can really get a good amount of mobility with this cannon punch. That can just kind of keep me going. And with that cannon punch, it opens up tons of gun strikes. So I can keep myself constantly topped off armor-wise, either via my perks or just that native actual cannon punch. And like I said too, I personally find the parry to be very easy on the fist. Balance or fencing. I don't know what it is. I think it's just like the speed of the animation, but it's just something that I really get. I get a lot of like, I get a really good feedback from it, versus the sword seems to have like kind of a little bit of a lag, especially when I'm playing Bulwark, obviously. But even when I compare it to the Thunder Hammer or the Chain Sword when I'm playing Assault, I just find that the Thunder Hammer really needs to be relic, and a lot of weapons need to be relic. But I think that when I'm playing with the Power Fist, it feels appropriately scaled to how I'm kind of going about the levels of the character versus when I'm playing with the Thunder Hammer. I feel like I'm just really not doing much until I get to those perks that really open up a lot of really fun functionality with the Thunder Hammer, right? Like being able to do the double ground pound with it, or being able to do the combo ground pound with it twice. Those big things allow you to get so much more utility, whereas the I don't know, I've been playing Warhammer for 20 years, and I still am not getting this right now. The Power Fist enables me such a good amount of flexibility and such a good amount of mobility, which I've said so many times before, but hopefully you can kind of see exemplified here. I just don't feel so locked down. And even when I do, I can get out of that situation, create a lot of room for myself with that cannon punch, and open up well, I messed with that, a gun strike that I just can immediately key off and get more armor. I think that this is probably the biggest boon to the entire weapon that affords me so much more increased survivability versus all the other weapons that Bulwark and Assault has access to. And I understand that's a hot take. Not a lot of people agree with that sentiment. And I can understand why. Especially before patch 3.0, the damage on this weapon was not significant. I definitely had to rely more on everyone around me and less on my actual damage to really succinctly take something down. But I felt like I was actually able to be a true bulwark with the Power Fist, something that I was not able to do with the Chainsword or the Power Sword. Now let's show off some gameplay, having some fun. I'm going to kind of narrate you through what happens here. And we are on Ruthless for all of this gameplay, so this should be kind of fun to see. And we're just going to bully this warrior away. And the big thing here is just kind of showing off how quick that parry is, how fast and reliable it is, before we jump into our next clip. And this all kind of comes together as one. What I really just like about this is we're going to just have the ability to recover from mistakes. And I left mistakes in here so you can see that I do make them. It's really easy to see content creators just show you flawless gameplay. Go, look, it's great. No, I'm going to show you some mistakes. And I find that with the sword on Bulwark, it's so much more punishing. And we have really great capabilities here to break open that guard, to get up inside that warrior's cookie jar and just rip him in half, quite literally. And if I'm playing with a Thunderhammer, the mistakes are in the aggression of it, right? So again, we're switching over here now into Decapitation. We're just ripping and gripping through some early stuff, just kind of showing this action off here. The big stuff's coming up that we were going to show off some mistakes. But I want to kind of open up with some cool highlight reels of me just completely crushing shit. So in here, in this the first portion of Decap, we have an overwhelming horde, and this can be either really good or really bad depending upon how you and your team manage it. And you can see that we have a lot of really good wave clear. We have that cannon punch, which is really going to help us out a lot. That creates a lot of these gun strikes. Those are going to be the saving grace of this bad boy. Now, as you see, I did the ground pound here. I actually had the perk setup that I didn't talk about in this video, and it's going to be even better if you have that perk setup. I was testing to see how that ground pound went. But a lot of the Power Fist is not even going to come down to the Power Fist. It's going to be coming down to your awareness of when to set up those perfect parries, when to get those gun strikes, when to get those gaunts that are in midair and grab them. A lot of those things, grabbing Minoris and instantly killing them, impairing them, is just a huge part of the game. So being able to set those things up is really huge. And the benefit of using the fist here is it's going to give me a lot of really good AoE damage whenever I do hit things or whenever I do decide to charge things up. And using that parry is going to help me out in creating those. Let's get a little ammo. Let's get a little ammo before we jump into this here. And why not get some reinforcements that I forgot to shut down? But that's okay. We're going to move through this. And we can just bully these warriors a lot better, I think, because I don't have to switch stances. If I'm on the power sword, I have to switch back and forth between stances. And yes, sure, you can do this with the dodge attack, but I like the reliability of just being able to just straight up cannon punch them right in the face and open up damage. That is a really nice capability that I like here. And you can do that with the chainsword, but I like the overall burst and the mobility that I'm going to be getting here through this. So we get a good series of engagements here. We jump into some barbs, and that's no big deal. We do get a bit of an unfortunate surround. And what you can see here is, yeah, I'm getting kind of chunked apart, but what you're really going to want to do here, I'm trying to test how that Power Fist or how that slam, what its AoE is, because I had a really good one earlier. But what I'm going to start doing is using Cannon Punch to get out of these sticky situations. I have goddamn near no health left. And using Cannon Punch, I'm able to create a gun strike and use a gun strike. There we go. hit another one, get a gun strike, and now I've got 2 blips of armor that I can sufficiently start to really fight back. Now I'm going to show you a quick little cheat that you can use as the Bulwark because of the new med kit. The med kit will now heal you up if you have contested health. So I'm pretty damn near redlined here, right? Well, I'm going to be doing 30% more or 30% and getting that health. But boom, right there, that med kit with the banner gives me full health and I'm good to go. But if I'm playing the Bulwark with the Power Fist, I have that 30% ability to get those additional armor segments. And really, you can see here, it's not the fist so much that's doing things. It's the gun strikes, it's the perfect parries, it's the things in the shock to do that damage. Now, with assault, it's a lot of the same thing, but you also need to be able to use your jump pack to sufficiently open up and really create a lot of damage for yourself. So into this next situation here, you're going to see me really suffer. I'm going to mess up a lot of these perfect parries and a lot of these dodges. But truly, I believe the only reason I survived this is because I was using the Power Fist and it gave me the mobility to try to get out of stuff. And I'm going to get bullied really bad right now. This is not going to be good gameplay. You're going to be like, why did he show us this? Because I think it's important that showing you the failures of me playing helps you get better because you can learn from my failures. And this is going to be the slowest elevator in any gameplay showcase you've ever seen. Lieutenant Titus is going to say the same thing that he says every single mission when you get to this point. But at the top of this staircase, we're going to be greeted with some Christmas elves. The Christmas elves of the Tyranids. And they are going to rip and grip us in a really fun way. So this becomes just a completely spiraling out of control melee. We have a really massive enemy wave that's going to open up hard and fast here. And I'm going to open up with a cannon punch. It's going to give me some good initiation, but I'm going to miss up right here. I'm going to start really falling off the bandwagon because I took that in the face. I didn't parry this. I missed that. I got chunks of my health gone. And I try to get a good dodge out of it, get a little gun strike, boom, my health goes back up. I get a little bit more. I get another gun strike. Now I've got more health and I've got that armor blip and I just get completely tanked here by this warrior. And I miss it. I miss a lot of these big moves here. Admittedly, I was a little tired, 5 hours of sleep, whatever, no excuses. And I'm just getting chunked apart. But the mobility of that fist, and I think the reliability of parrying on the fist enables me to really pull out of this in a better way. I kept trying to test the damage of that power fist, and the fist slam, and it just was not a good idea. And it really opened me up here, because this could have been really bad, really, really quick. And I find that with the power sword, I'm spending so much time trying to wind up those attacks that I never really can get the attacks out. So trying to capitalize on these contested health points really falls to the wayside for me. So hopefully you see now kind of how I approach the Power Fist, what I do to get the most out of it. And hopefully this helps you in determining whether the Power Fist is for you. With this most recent patch, it is a huge boon. It is a lot better. It is a lot stronger. And I think with the mobility, like I've said like a million times in this video, you're going to find that the fist is going to be extremely rewarding once you understand how the combo system works and once you can really put the pedal to the metal in understanding when to turn the combos on, when to do the cannon punch, when to get those gun strike values for those armor bips. So go ahead and let it be known in the comment section below if there's different ways that you like to approach the Power Fist. This is the way that I really like to do it. Let it be known if you're still struggling. I'm happy to help you out with any kind of combos, anything like that. For those that have watched me stream, you've probably watched me stream exclusively with a Power Fist on, have I said Thunder Fist? I've said Thunder Fist, haven't I? Power Fist on my Assault and my Bulwark. It's just what I like to do. I find I feel the strongest with them versus the other weapons. I feel a little slower and clunkier. But again, go ahead and let me know in your thoughts in the comment section below. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.